Vagina.
Like Happy Halloween and Zoinks and stuff, you know? Yeah, I saw 4 kids outside my doorstep dressed like Weezer, and they talk about trick or treat. Dude, you dressed up as Weezer, there ain't no treat about that.
If you were a kid at some point, which I sure hope you were, otherwise I'd have concerns, chances are you've watched a Halloween special, something on Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon, or if you weren't fortunate enough to have cable, one of the public access networks. It could be a completely original film or a little part of a bigger series. Today, I'm taking a look at some of the most notable ones from my childhood and my thoughts on them. Now, I'm also going to talk about a few newer ones, so bear with me here. Now, these won't be any theatrical releases, but TV movies will be considered. It's the Great Pumpkin. Charlie Brown is kind of obligatory as the quintessential Halloween special. Being one of the many specials under the Peanuts characters, It's the Great Pumpkin. Charlie Brown is just a classic. Like many of the Peanuts specials, it's an incredibly simple setup of Linus being excited for the arrival of the Great Pumpkin. All the while, Charlie Brown gets invited to a big ol' Halloween party. The first time he's ever been invited to a party. Well, maybe if he wasn't such a fucking Debbie Downer, he'd be invited to shit.
Every year it's the same thing. Dress up, get candy. Where's the variety in that? I really wish things would be different. Lucy, why do you keep inviting this bald fuck?
Actually, I'm starting to wonder if that's why he kept getting rocks instead of candy when trick-or-treating. No, I'm not kidding. He goes to like 3 or 4 different houses and every one of them gives this kid a solid-ass rock.
Shit, honey, get the rocks, get the rocks. That bald kid is coming. Get the rocks. What do you mean, how? He has a terrible costume. Look at it!
While it's incredibly simple, that's always been the Peanuts way, and it's a definite classic. DreamWorks had quite a few Halloween specials based on their properties. Of course, they had to do one based on Shrek. In the 2000s, where Stitch dominated Disney marketing, Shrek dominated DreamWorks marketing. Shrek was a major hit when it came out in 2001, and in 2010, we got Scared Shrekless, an anthology of the Shrek characters telling different scary stories in an attempt to scare the others. It's simple, but I think it works. I find it hilarious that everyone else in the original cast came back for this, but Eddie Murphy was just too busy with Tower Heist to pop in. Could have fooled me as a kid, the replacement ain't half bad. I also love that Gingy's girlfriend here in the story is voiced by Kristen Shaw, so all I could think of was Mabel Pines during this scene.
I don't understand. I thought you were happy. Yarn balls, I'm a knitter.
Do I think it's better than the movie or the sequel? No, but for being lowered budget, it doesn't look terrible, and the humor is still on point.
Everybody catches the wind. What?
For some reason, I think DreamWorks thought Monsters vs. Aliens was their Shrek for the 2010s, because I couldn't go from being 7 to being 9 without seeing Seth Rogen blob somewhere.
Ah, my
Dick.
Just kidding. I don't have a
Dick.
And in the year of the film's release, we saw Mutant Pumpkins from Outer Space. Now, one thing I thought Monsters vs. Aliens did exceptionally well was the capturing of the B-movie from the 80s. Such, I think that's why both shorts they did, this and Night of the Living Carrots, worked so well, because they're already sounding like B-movies from the 80s themselves. With that said, another really funny one, and this time ain't no Eddie Murphy on this cast, everyone came back. Well, obviously Reese Witherspoon and Seth Rogen aren't Eddie Murphy, they're not above this shit. That being said, I found this one slightly less funny than Scared Shrekless, and also Kristen Shaw isn't in this, and anything where Kristen Shaw isn't in it is like 10% less funny.
No, seriously, it's a rule.
Yep, somehow on the complete other end of everything, DreamWorks has potential for another franchise with The Bad Guys. Now, I've mentioned my love for this movie and Dying Oxygen multiple times on this channel, and yeah, I actually really like the 2022 movie. And with the sequel coming out next year, you have to look at how DreamWorks has been using the franchise in between that time.
Ew.
The Bad Guys, A Very Bad Holiday, was a Christmas special featuring the bad guys that came out last year on Netflix, and just this year, we had The Bad Guys Haunted Heist. Now, the big issue with both of these is a similar issue to Scared Shrekless or Mutant Pumpkins from Outer Space. They had a smaller budget. Only problem is both of those at least attempted to look like their respective sources. Unfortunately, The Bad Guys had a very unique animation style that was able to look choppy but never felt choppy. With both these shorts, they attempt to recreate that, and they get something choppy that definitely feels choppy. I'd say Haunted Heist looks better than A Very Bad Holiday, and the plot is fine. The bad guys want to steal from a dead man this time, named Reginald E. Scary.
Alright guys, we're gonna be stealing from Reginald E. Scary today. My brother in Christ, we finna die!
It's incredibly simple, but sadly, it doesn't nearly do what the other 2 DreamWorks specials did, which sucks. I like the bad guys, and specifically the character voiced by Zazie Beetz, but it just doesn't work the way the film did. That sequel better be gas, not gonna lie. Alright, I wanted to actually mention another one that I just completely forgot to put in here. I'm going right off record here. Scooby-Doo Zombie Island and Scooby-Doo the Loch Ness Monster. You both slapped. Anyway, let's move on. Oh yeah, if you grew up in the early to mid 2000s watching Cartoon Network, you know this one. Scary Godmother has to be the most uniquely weird Halloween special out there. It was debuted on Cartoon Network in 2003. It followed a young girl named Hannah Marie, who is apparently the only girl in this town with fully detailed eyes. Does that look weird to the others in this universe?
Yeah, dude, I'm about to go ham on them fruit chews. Oh my god. Hey guys!
It's a very interesting plot of Hannah Marie getting trapped in a haunted house and meeting her scary godmother. Now, you'll pick up that early 2000 CGI wasn't fully developed. Really, what was the most impressive CGI-based film in 2003 without a budget, damn it? However, I think this CG looks scary, but still charming. Scary Godmother as a character is a very likable character, and it's never seen as creepy how she acts towards Hannah. She clearly does care about her. And the other characters are just as likable. Though to my frequent commenter who claimed Hannah and Orson the vampire kid grew up to be Bella and Edward from Twilight,
Hell no. Come on.
it's definitely awkward and cringy, but it was 2003, and for being 2003, I think it works insanely well even to this day.
You go in there and bring out the baby.
Now, Toy Story was always subject to Short's help. They made a mini-series called Toy Story Toons. While they had an ABC special called The Toys That Time Forgot, they also had a Halloween special, Toy Story of Terror. As a kid, this one strangely scared me, and I can safely say,
I was a pussy back then.
Toy Story of Terror is obviously not scary, but it takes a darker approach for the characters, most notably with Jessie. I was always pissed how they didn't do anything with Jessie in the fourth movie, so in my mind, Toy Story of Terror is canonically Toy Story 4. That being said, Toy Story of Terror is a great Halloween special, with a dark atmosphere, some great Toy Story humor, and a decent plot. I think this one definitely was a classic for many kids my age. Now, I grew up in a Disney Channel household. Plenty of DComs. Disney Channel original movies were shown to me very often. Strangely, I remember Smart House the most. I think I remember that now because of the house AI woman being played by Leela from Futurama.
Angie Cooper, age 9, 52 inches tall. I get tongue-tied in front of an audience armed with death rays.
Plus, you don't really have the thighs for a miniskirt.
That being said, the one I always watched around Halloween, we'll get to in a bit. But Twitches was pretty good too. In 2005 and 2007, Disney Channel released Twitches and Twitches 2. Though for some reason, the IMDb pages call them the Witches of Coventry. Bitch, they Twitches, alright? The obvious charm here was that the Twitches, the witches separated at birth only to find each other years later, are played by real-life twin sisters Tia and Tamara Mowry. I always thought these were cheesy, but so was High School Musical and Xenon, pretty much all of these dumb DComs. They're supposed to be stupid, and for being like the others, I think these work fine. Also, I was one of those fucking weirdos who liked Lemonade Mouth. But for me, I personally grew up with Halloween Town, specifically 1 and 2. I lost track after that. Halloween Town was always fascinating to me as a kid, and after finding out the town they filmed it in still celebrates the film around Halloween, it makes me appreciate the simplicity of these early Disney Channel movies better. It's a classic tale of a young girl who finds out her grandmother is a witch. Such, she goes to the place where her grandmother resides, Halloween Town. The town is very rustic, but it's charming enough. The first film admittedly has some annoying parts, like the little brother being just unbearable enough. I personally prefer the second film. It has way higher stakes of a plot that works so well for the film, and the villain is very well done. Halloween Town and Halloween Town 2 were classics for me growing up, and I still enjoy them to this day. Okay, our last special before we get to the TV episodes is Sing Thriller. This is a very new short that just released on Netflix this month. Hell, it's not even a few days old as of writing this. Of course, this has the Sing characters going through a similar plot to that of Michael Jackson's Thriller. It's kind of lame, but it's cool to see Illumination still cares about these characters. And it looks just as good as the films, I'm surprised. I always found the Sing films to be way overhated, so it's nice to see a little Halloween special around this time, and it gives me hope for Sing 3. Alright, now we're discussing TV episodes, specific episodes of shows that celebrated the holiday. First up is Scaredy Pants, the first Halloween special from SpongeBob SquarePants. I've discussed my thoughts on this episode before, but to recap, I find this episode to be probably the best holiday episode of Season 1. It represents the holiday well and has some banger Season 1 writing.
I've come for your pickle.
We also have Epidemiology from Season 2 of Community. I always found Community to be easily one of the funniest shows out there, and this Halloween special is a classic, one of my personal favorite episodes. And of course, the Treehouse of Horror episodes from The Simpsons. They've done quite a few, but they always were able to paint The Simpsons in a new creepy light that always blew me away when I was younger. And as an adult, I appreciate the effort put into these episodes every time they drop a new one. While they never were downright scary, they were a different tone for The Simpsons, and I appreciate the writers going through with it all the time. These Halloween specials always held a special place in my heart, and even the newer stuff I can appreciate because it makes me realize some kid will have Sing Thriller as their great pumpkin. It's nice to see what the new generation will grow up with and how it compares to the stuff I grew up with. God bless the poor kids growing up with Haunted Heist, though.
Well, if there's one thing for certain, I can rest easy knowing that they'll never make a Bambi horror movie, right? Is that a Bambi horror movie? Alright, I'm gonna go kill myself. Happy Arbor Day!
Dear all trick-or-treaters, I'm coming back.
Hey y'all, so I'm making this really late into the video's production. I'm actually supposed to post it right now, and I completely forgot to make this. So you guys gotta check out this podcast. I know that I usually don't do like, shout outs or sponsors, but I wanted to shout out this creator that happens to be one of my good coworkers. So this guy I work with, Arthur, works on a podcast called the 13th Podcast. And it is a really cool paranormal themed podcast that's perfect for Halloween season. You guys really gotta check these guys out. They really are seriously, some of the stuff they do is really impressive considering I've never considered doing a podcast. So definitely go check their podcast out. All the links will be in the description. And thank you, Arthur, for paying me for this advertisement. Checkmate.